Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters. PGL Minecraft here with game number 2 between the Teal Zerg player roxkisSlivko up here in the upper right-hand corner and his opponent Monchi down here in the bottom left-hand corner. This map is Shakuras Plateau. To be perfectly honest, not one of my favorite maps, and I think... Actually, I don't even know. I was going to say, I think it's actually currently out of the ladder map pool. Not 100% sure. It is relatively well balanced in this sort of matchup, and actually in pretty much every matchup, it's pretty decently balanced. It is certainly very easy to forge fast expand, so we will be seeing Monchi going and doing that right now. I do want to talk about, just for a little bit, kind of Protoss versus Zerg, and also the fact that Monchi chose the color green. I want to say that that's one of the rarest times, one of the rarest colors. Teal, fairly common. I see a number of people choosing green, choosing teal. Green, though, I don't know. It seems like green doesn't get enough love. I'm not really too big of a fan of green myself, so I perfectly understand why people opt not to go for it. But, you know, just kind of a random thought right there. But on to Protoss versus Zerg kind of in general. To me, it's kind of the matchup that needs the most exploring. That and maybe Protoss versus Protoss. Because it depends so heavily upon that 2-base all-in from Protoss players. And generally when you see in any sort of StarCraft game, one sort of strategy becoming like super dominant, it seems to me that, which is fun, like a Forge Fast Expand being dominant is like, you know, like, it's not like, that's not bad for the game or anything, and it's not really an indication that anything is wrong with the game. But when you see, for example, 2-base all-ins, essentially, you know, in which you have to destroy the Protoss or the Zerg player's third, kind of being everything, that is something that's not really likely to last. You can see the probe is on patrol right there, so I won't click on him any longer, as that will just kind of confuse us as we move back and forth. And look at that little stingray flying through the air. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. Everyone talks about the flying shark on Cloud Temple, but no love for the stingray that has little lights on its back. That's really cool, actually. Looks like there was going to be a little bit of dance right there. Well, anyway, but, oh, no, nice. Able to slip that down again, although it looked like Monchi was pulling back his drone, or his probe, rather. But anyway, 2-base all-ins kind of aren't really something that should be the kind of stable strategy for this. So it seems more likely that it's going to be, you know, something else is going to kind of develop. Protoss players maybe will figure out a way to take a more stable third under these sorts of situations. And I have seen Protoss players do that successfully. But, you know, I don't know. That's just kind of my general thoughts. I would like to see a little bit more development. I think we will see that kind of development, of course, in all of the matchups, as well as, I mean, I'm not even really convinced that Reactor Hellion Expand is going to be the go-to build, you know, 6 months from now, just because StarCraft is such a dynamic game, and so many things can change about it at once, that it can actually just lead to entirely different kinds of situations. And it looks like Monchi did end up pausing for a second, so did my computer, apparently. So he's deeply sorry about that, though. So he wants you to know that he expresses his deepest apologies for it right now. Now, roxkisSlivko, I do not believe he has taken a gas. No, he has not. So he will be going for that quick third base. We can see the drone already in position right there. Meanwhile, that Zergling is actually going to go ahead and take it out. But that probe was very smartly hiding up there from that Zergling, able to go down and spot the hatchery. He looks like he is going to place a pylon up here in order to be able to pressure that hatchery. However, the Zergling is on a queue to be able to see it. Most likely will be spotting that probe right there, as, ooh, he's on move command, actually. He does see it, but I'm not sure if he's actually going to turn around for it. Looks like, oh, he does see it, and he is now going to go ahead and take out that probe. However, luckily that probe did have some minerals in his mouth, so all Monchi had to do to micro him back home is to press C, and that automatically mineral walks him if you are carrying minerals back to a base. That mineral walks you, which lets you go through units, basically. Those of you who do not know what mineral walking is, anyway. So, looks like we're probably going to be seeing the sort of 2-base all-in that we saw in the previous match, most likely. It remains to be seen exactly what he is going for. Oh, actually, he's 200 gas right now. I would actually guess, okay, well, we're almost certainly going to be seeing a Stargate coming out. Actually, I almost wonder if he took those gases just a little bit too soon, huh? That's kind of interesting. Maybe we'll be seeing a double Stargate, actually. In fact, I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm not quite sure why he's pulling up. There's one Stargate, and second one. Yep, looks like we will be going for a double Stargate right here. And he should be taking his 4th gas pretty soon, as well as Void Rays are extremely gas heavy, and so are Phoenixes actually. Phoenixes build super, super quickly. As you can see, he hasn't even started his Warp Gate right now. I'm not even sure. I think he will probably be starting that fairly soon. It remains to be seen exactly the kind of ground composition he's going to combine with this Stargate play right here, as some Protoss players like to get a pylon in position, like maybe, down here at the bottom of the ramp, and then you can use the voids, the phoenixes to spot, and then get zealots up here, and then send the zealots over to the third base. Or even you could do that in the main as well if you choose to go kind of that direction. Normally you do want to try to target the third base just because it's going to be a little bit easier to kind of target. Now the next big question is going to be exactly how many void rays he ends up getting. And when he switches over to Phoenixes, some players like to get 2, some players like to get 1, some players like to get 3, some players even like to get 4 sometimes. And actually he's getting 0. That's very interesting. Okay, so he's just going to be going for very heavy Phoenix harass. Now, I don't actually like this very much at all, as this is a huge, huge commitment right here. And most Zerg players really know how to deal with massive amounts of Phoenixes. Basically all you have to do is just get additional hatcheries. And then, they may keep killing drones, but you'll be losing Phoenixes as long as they get a couple of Spore Crawlers up at the bases. You can kill a number of queens with this, and I also like the double chrono boost right there. The other thing you could do as a Zerg player is just get tons and tons of Zerglings, and because Phoenixes can only pick up units at the cost of 50 energy, it's actually not really that cost effective to pick up Zerglings. You really just can't pick up that many units and really deal with them right here. And you can see that Phoenixes build so quickly, especially when they're being chrono boosted, that he is actually outspending his gas right now on Phoenixes right now, despite the fact that he's on 3 gas, so he is going to be getting that 4th gas just a little bit later right here. So I'm kind of curious how many Phoenixes. It looks like he's probably going to be moving out with about 6 Phoenixes. I do not believe that this has been spotted right here by roxkisSlivko. No, in fact, he doesn't even have an Overlord in position, which is kind of interesting, to be perfectly honest, as normally you do want to kind of spot exactly what kind of all-in Protoss player is going for. It looks like he's getting 4 additional gateways, so it looks like he's going to 5 additional gateways. Okay, so he's going to transition to a 6 gate, I'm going to guess. We're going to get 1 more gateway, maybe. Oh no, just a pylon. Okay, so he's going to go into, yeah, it is 6 gateways, because he already has 1 completed. Alright, so he will be getting 1 more, he has 6 gateways, and then he's got these Phoenix right here. Unfortunately, the Spore Crawler is going to finish right here, but he should be able to pick up the Queen, be able to take out the Queen fairly quickly right here. Queen is going to go ahead and go down. He wants to make sure to control his Phoenixes correctly to make sure that he doesn't lose or take too much damage to that Spine Crawler right there. He's going to be able to pick up a number of drones as well, but wants to make sure he has enough energy to be able to pick up the rest of the Queens and to keep dealing damage to the Zerg player right here. Now, one thing this is going to do is this is going to force the Zerg player to go ahead and drone up fairly heavily. He's also going to be getting a Hydralisk Den, which is actually going to be the correct response here, but sometimes Protoss players, particularly off of one Stargate, will transition to Protoss. Off of transition to Colossus rather. He's actually not using his Phoenixes here. He really wants to be a little bit more active with these. He's going to be able to pick up that Overlord right there, but it looks like Spore Crawlers are now up, and a pair of Spore Crawlers at the majority of these bases here is really going to prevent any more additional damage from being done. Some Hydras are now coming up as well. Looks like he is going to go ahead and take a little bit of damage on some of his Phoenixes there in order to be able to pick out some more Overlords right there. Being able to pick out that Queen would also be nice, but it looks like that is going to take too long, and he doesn't really want to lose those resources right here. Now, Slivko is preparing for the counterattack right here with his Zerglings. He just wants to check for a third, make sure the Protoss player is not getting any sort of advantage off of this, and looks like he is going to be opting for weapons level 1 for his attack that he will be committing against the Zerg player right there. Looks like he is going to go ahead and brave the damage from the Spore Crawler and take a little bit of damage on that Phoenix right there. Now, one disadvantage of getting Hydras against Phoenixes is actually, since they're light, Phoenixes deal so much damage to them, that actually combined with a, sort of regular gateway attack right here, especially with Guardian Shield, which does in fact protect flying units, you can actually pick off the Hydralisk relatively easily, a lot easier than you can actually pick off units like Roaches right here. He is going to want to save some of this energy right here. He is picking off drones, which is nice, but he is going to want to make sure he saves a good amount of energy for actually dealing with an, not quite good enough there. He probably should not have tried to pick off that Overlord right there. That really wasn't the biggest deal in the world to be able to pick off that Overlord. Looks like these Hydras are going to go ahead and follow him home. He is building a number of additional pylons in order to continue the attack with his 6th gate that he has transitioned into after this double Stargate attack. I do have to say this is somewhat interesting kind of double Stargate, which I haven't really seen, one where which you kind of basically abandon the double Stargate after getting it and go ahead and switch into a 6-gate attack. So we're going to kind of have to see if it is effective at all. His opponent has switched into Hydralisks, which are pretty good against gateway units, but then again, Guardian Shield's pretty good against Hydralisks, and Force Fields, of course, are good against most Zerg units as well. I do not even know, does he have range? I don't think he's upgraded range, actually. That's very interesting. And that's going to be a big problem for him, actually, coming in here. That is a lot of Hydralisks, though, so I don't know if this is really going to be effective here. It looks like a pretty good force fields, though, are going to be able to deal with a good amount of these Zerg units before the rest of them can really engage right here. And there's a huge, massive Stalkers, actually, right here as well. And the Phoenix is doing a good amount of damage to the Roaches as well as to the Hydros right here. Very smart from Slivko, moving his Spore Crawlers down to deal additional damage to the Phoenixes. Of course, they cannot be picked up by the Phoenixes, but this is a lot of gateway units which have been transitioned into. However, 18 Roaches is now on the way for Slivko right here, so I'm not sure if Monchi's final attack is going to be successful moving up. He is able to pick off these Spore Crawlers. Not the biggest deal in the world, as all it's doing is buying Slivko more time to get out more additional units right here. And looks like he's actually probably going to be able to supply block his opponent pretty heavily right here. And he can kind of basically force field off this area and prevent his opponent from really being able to engage him right here. Of course, then he abandons that area and allows his opponent to kind of return and kind of attack. Looks like the drones are actually going to be pulled right now, and Slivko is going to find himself on the bad side of a concave right here, so his opponent is going to have two angles of attack right here on him. The drones are kind of bouncing around each other a little bit with this attack, but not sure quite how much damage is being dealt versus what's necessary right here. I don't think he does not have enough energy. Looks like he did actually end up using a little bit too much energy on his Phoenixes to pick up drones early on, and I was saying he did want to save that energy, didn't quite do that correctly here, and looks like that attack has now been thwarted. He is now down by 50 supply. He does not have a third base, not even on the way. He has killed 40 workers though, which is very significant at this point in time, although he's only up by 6 workers, and the fact that he doesn't have a third base more than makes up for that. The Zerg player will return the favor on workers very, very quickly right here, and it looks like he is going to send a probe up there. Unfortunately, some Zerglings are already in position up there in this top right little section to basically intercept the Nexus from going down, and looks like the Zerglings have spotted though that probe over there. The probe will be taken out by those Roaches. Looks like some additional Zealots are being warped in. Looks like he is a little low on gas right now, so was not able to warp in Stalkers, which is really what he needs right now. Zealots, of course, do a horrible job in this sort of kind of combat situation, as they are going to have to march through single file, basically into their deaths right there, into the waiting arms of the Hydras and Roaches right here. It looks like roxkisSlivko is probably going to be able to march on through and take his opponent out right here. Although all of the Hydras, oh no, there's one Hydra left alive right now. The Hydra should be picked up. Yep, and was able to be picked up and taken out. Additional Zealots are doing additional damage right there and kind of stopping the Roaches from really marching on through too much. A little bit of a micro would be nice right now from Slivko, but it looks like 30 additional Zerglings are on the way, and I don't really see a way that Monchi is going to be able to survive this. So it looks like this, in fact, was a failed attack right here, and it looks like roxkisSlivko is going to be able to take a game at number 2. This is PGL Milncraft signing out.